Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final of IPL 2021 with Golf News and Mr. Cricket UAE and Aris Sajjan himself. Now, that was absolute thriller, massive, high-scoring game. Chennai looked to be running away with it, but while they won by 27 runs there, it was nothing but easy cruise. Anis, you want to just take us through what you thought of it being there at the stadium yourself?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Matt. Hello, Arjan. I'm sure a very happy Arjan. But to be very honest, the margin looks 27, but I will be saying that it was an emphatic victory by CSK. A couple of things I would like to point out. When you play a big final and against a big opponent like CSK, you probably, when you win the toss, you bat first. I know Owen Morgan said after the toss that he feels that the dew will come into picture, but there was nothing like that. And secondly, mind you, they were not playing at Sharjah cricket ground where they were chasing 130, 135, 140. They were playing in Dubai cricket ground. The wicket was beautiful. And when an opposition puts up almost 200 runs, it's not easy to chase. And that is where Owen Morgan lost it. And mind you, the middle order was absolutely pathetic throughout the tournament. And the injury to Tripathi added probably further woes to CSK, rather KKR.
KKR. And Arjan, you must be delighted. You were there at the stadium as well, and you managed to find time to come and have a chat before you go and celebrate. What's it feel like?
The thing that I loved about this match is that sometimes KKR were actually in a great position to win. But I think KKR just threw away the game. I mean, sure, until the last few overs, KKR was still hitting six, trying to manage to grasp that victory, but it was just out of reach for them. I think the match was really, really good. I loved how Ruturaj and Faf and all CSK batting lineup played. I'm sad that Dhoni didn't get a chance to participate that much. Sure, he was a great keeper, but he didn't get to bat. That's kind of sad.
Do you think he's a great keeper? He dropped two sitters. He dropped a simple dolly. It could have cost them the match. Today we are happy because you won it. But had they lost, it would have been because of MS Dhoni's dropped catch.
Yeah, but still, I mean, this could be his last match. His last cricket match ever. So, I mean, so you've got to admit.
It gives him the license to drop a catch. Huh?
Yeah,
that's like a good CSK fan.
Benefit of the doubt, given what he's provided over the years. Now, you talked about that, Dhoni. That's one thing we have to talk about. Where does he go from here? I mean, we know that he's going to mentor the India team in the upcoming World Cup. But do you think he'll hang up his gloves?
To be very honest, Matt, I would be surprised that he will continue as a player for CSK. I don't think he should. But knowing MS Dhoni, he's always come out on a high. Whether it was international cricket for Test cricket or ODI, he doesn't want to, leave it on a low. And he's not one of those guys who likes limelight. He suddenly announced his retirement. And I wouldn't be surprised because when I had a quiet word with Fleming, he said that he's in the twilight of his career. I'm not sure whether he's going to continue. But as much as I know MS Dhoni's feelings about as a player, he would not continue. And don't be surprised. He might come in the CSK camp as a mentor as he's coming for the Indian team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Arjan, obviously you mentioned that there as well. What about if that is the case? What's the future for this champion Chennai team? Where do they go? I mean, maybe mentor comes in, but they'll need to find a new structure there on the field.
Yeah, I think first step is mentor. Second step is coach. I hope Dhoni is going to become the future head coach for India. I really hope that's going to happen. I know
it won't happen, Arjan. I can tell you now it won't happen. It had to happen. He would have taken up the job after Ravi Shastri resigned. He's one of those guys, who has achieved so much in his life. This is the last thing. He's also taken this mentorship job, beta, just because he was forced by Virat Kohli. And he's doing it for free. And as much as the news is out, we might have a surprise coach. So wait and watch.
Mm-hmm. That's someone that's got his ear in the know. Now we talked about the innings. That was a great 192 on a big a big Dubai field. There was a lot of boundaries there, despite it being a big stadium. That's one curious point. The other one is the fine margins of such a cricket match. We saw Faf score a great innings, but he could have been stumped on two, and Utapa was also dropped, and he also survived a review. Now these fine margins can be, really crucial. And do we think that's what IPL is all about, and these things can turn the match on its head?
Of course, Matt. As you said about Faf was missed by Dinesh Karthik. You see, sometimes when your batting doesn't do the job, it automatically tells on your wicket keeping. And moreover, not only the stumping, as well as today, KKR were ragged on the field. Like we were in the stadium, we could see they were hardly. Owen Morgan missed a couple of balls. In fact, nothing was going their way, except you can say that the drop catch by MS Dhoni and that the catch of Gill, which hit the top of the camera. Otherwise, they would have been probably done and dusted. We would have been finishing this match much more earlier. But such things happen in the game of cricket. But I will have to be very honest. CSK was the dominant side for two reasons, which I mentioned. One, they were playing in Dubai for a longer time, so they had the experience of playing in Dubai. Whereas KKR, as I said, were coming through slow pitches in Sharjah, where they had to chase around 135, 140. But from 140, when you're chasing 190, it's not easy. And that's what you could see the difference between the two teams. Bearing the openers, there was hardly anybody contributing from KKR. And the injury to Tripathi did not help.
Okay. Yeah, and he limped off in the first innings. Arjan,
Sham has also joined. Sham has joined.
Sham is here. That's good. That's another man at the stadium. Glad to see you, Sham.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Just a minute.
Okay. And Arjan,
it's
so the
a little noisy here, and it's not like that. Not like the usual. It's pretty noisy here. I can hear the sound from outside coming, and this chatter in the press box. I think we'll have to live with it.
No problem, Sham. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So Sham, are you ready? We'll just.
Yeah, I'm good to go. It's my. I just worried about my lighting because it's not.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's clear. You are very clear.
Fine. We're already rolling, Sham. The good thing is, obviously, we were just talking about how it was such a thrilling match. Just what was your overall take on the game, the chase, and obviously the ultimate collapse of KKR?
Okay, you're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, Sham.
Okay, basically, I think Faf took the match away from the KKR simply because if you look back at the KKR matches, it's the middle overs which is they have been throttling the opposition. It's basically they use their spinners, all the three spinners, to slow down the scoring, and the scoring becomes so slow that they are unable to step up the accelerator later in the slow hours. Today, what happened was Faf completely dismantled that. He raced through the middle overs. He ravaged every bowler in the middle overs. So there was no let up after the power play, which is actually that was the main difference today, and which is why if it was not for the last over by Mavi, I think he gave only 8 runs. Otherwise, Chennai would have easily crossed 200.
Yeah,
to me, that Faf's knock was the difference.
We were talking about that earlier with Anis there, that he said this game could have been done and dusted a lot earlier, but there was a great chase, at least first half of the innings, by KKR, and they were actually ahead at one point from where Chennai were in their rip-roaring innings. Now what exactly happened there to cause that? What was it? Four men down in 16 balls. What do you think happened, Sham?
Yeah, actually it was a pressure telling on them. Even at 91 for no loss, that is the first wicket went down. But even at that point, I had a look at the scoring rate. The scoring rate, the required run rate was even at that point 10.73, which is very high. I mean, which means they were still behind the run rate. So when Venkatesh Iyer left, that means that the rest of the batsmen has to come in and have a go at it straight away, even without settling down. So what happened was that Shardul Thakur's 2 wickets in 3 balls I think that broke the KKR challenge there.
Okay, and Arjan, obviously with the World Cup coming up, and there's been a lot of debates about who comes in and who's been left out. Who's been your find of the tournament as far as the Indian players go? Who's been the star man that we didn't expect? Curveball.
Dhoni.
Yeah, actually Dhoni. I didn't expect Dhoni to actually be the mentor for the team. I thought he was just gonna continue playing the T20 World Cup. I mean, there was little chance that he was actually gonna be in the squad, but when it came to me that he was actually gonna be the mentor, I was so surprised. It was out of this world.
And Anis, who's your find of the tournament?
It obviously has to be Rituraj Gaikwad. You see, we saw glimpses of him in the last tournament. If you remember when he started, he had gone for 5 innings without scoring anything. But mind you, that's the secret about and the success for CSK. They back their players because they identify players who do good. And after that, Rituraj Gaikwad has not looked back. In the last 5 innings in the CSK in 2020, he scored some 250 runs. And this year he is the orange cap holder. That shows how CSK back their players. And whether it is Rituraj Gaikwad, whether it is Shardul Thakur, they back the players to the core. But when you look at the opposition teams, whether it is the Punjabs or the Delhis, they keep changing players. And one reason for CSK to do well is that they know which player is going to perform and who is going to deliver. And even when they lost last year, they did not make any noise. They just went about their business, picked up Moeen Ali. If you see, there's not much change, and Robin Uthappa probably is the only surprise. Rest of the squad is almost the same. I'm sure you will agree.
It is something that it shows you something about the CSK batting, that the guy that was closest to him was Faf, who missed out by 2 runs. He could have actually taken the orange cap right at the end there. But yes, Sham. So just back to you, just to kind of get it wrapped up. What's your take on the tournament as a whole? I mean, obviously it's been the longest one on record, given its postponement in May, and that's saying something, given that this is a long competition. But yeah, star player, biggest upset, and overall take on being again as in the UAE.
Yeah, I mean, to me, let me start with something which you didn't ask. I mean, to me, the find of the discovery of the tournament was Venkatesh Iyer, because Ruturaj, I always expected him to do well, because even when Chennai dropped him earlier last year, I was sure that he'll come good, and he did towards the end of the tournament. When Chennai was out of the tournament, they gave chances to everybody, and Ruturaj came out with very good knocks. So it was not a surprise for me to see him do well this year, because I knew that this man is ready for this year. But to me, the biggest surprise was Venkatesh Iyer. I kept asking, where did this guy come from? We haven't heard of him till now. And look at the confidence at which he bats and the kind of timing he's got. It's just phenomenal.
Terrific.
And even today, the ball was just racing off the bat. That hook of Josh Hazelwood. The immediately after Dhoni dropped, he just hooked him for a 6, and that was went off like a whistle actually. So I mean, incredible timing from him, and to me, he is the find of the tournament. And to me, when you asked about the tournament, the biggest upset, of course, has to be Mumbai's exit. I mean, nobody expected that. I mean, even when in the worst days, we expected Bombay. I mean, at least I expected Mumbai to bounce back, but never happened. To me, that was the biggest thing. Then as far as the tournament goes, this is a funny tournament, because if you look at the first half was played in India, the second half in UAE. And also in both places, the pitch behaved differently, especially if you look at Chennai pitches, slow turners, low scoring matches. Teams struggle there. And when it went to matches shifted to Delhi, Bombay, and Ahmedabad, we had a different kind of result. And when it came to the UAE pitches itself was different from last year, because I expected the UAE pitches to be a little more lively, because last year, if you look at Nokia, Rabada, and Deepak Chahar, and all the seamers had plenty of purchase last year, which didn't happen this year. Like if you look at, when they did succeed, but not to the same level as last year. And if you look at the scores, especially Sharjah was the biggest surprise because we just saw we didn't see a single 200 plus score in Sharjah. I think the only 200 plus score which saw in the UAE was in Abu Dhabi, where that too it was a dead match uh, where Mumbai beat
Sunrisers.
Hyderabad. Yeah,
Sunrisers.
Sunrisers Hyderabad. So, uh, I mean, so that was perhaps the only 200 plus score in the UAE, which was a huge surprise for me. Because to me, in a T20 match, you have to see runs. I mean, I do subscribe to the fact that there has to be an even battle between bat and ball, but I would save it for the test match. I think in T20 we need to see runs, and the bowler's skill is there into throttling the batsman. This is what we seen here in some of the matches, especially where KKR had their spinners of Chakravarti, Shakib Al Hassan, and Sunil Narine. We saw them tie down the batsman with this skill. So that is entirely possible. So to me, this was a very exciting tournament. We didn't know who was going to be the fourth team or the third and fourth team in the playoffs. So it was a very absorbing and interesting and exciting tournament for me.
Okay, and obviously, we have a whole 4 days break before the World Cup starts in Anger. It's going to be another thrilling test, but these pitches will be bedded in, but we've got to hope that they last the distance. If has anyone got any last comments on anything about that just before we sign off?
I'm not even thinking about it 4 days away.
We'll have
Matt,
a breather.
I can only say that MS Dhoni had a disappointment in 2020 in UAE. He had a point to prove that who's the daddy of IPL. Okay, Rohit Sharma must have won 5 times, but this man has taken his team to the IPL finals 9 times, and he proved it once again why he's called the Thalaiwa.
Indeed. Okay, and now Arjan, you've been an amazing guest for us all the way through, both on Twitter and on video. Have you got any last comments to say to your viewers out there?
Every single one of you, go CSK!
Lovely.
That's my boy. Okay, again, thank you everybody for following us throughout the tournament here at Gulf News. As we mentioned, the World Cup is coming up very fast on the heels of this one, and you'll be able to keep up to date with everything, analysis and previews, reviews, the whole lot on the World Cup once it gets going here in the UAE. And thank you again for following us, and Mr. Cricket and UAE Anis Sajan for also hosting with us all the way through the tournament. And we shall see you all again soon.